Now to West Africa, where the region continues to battle the worst Ebola outbreak in history. In Liberia, officials say at least 53 people have died of the deadly virus in just the last 3 days. Food aid is being dispatched from the capital, Monrovia, to families in quarantined area. 2 food trucks with provisions for thousands of families arrived on Tuesday. The World Food Programme is stepping up emergency food deliveries to include severely affected regions such as Bomi and Foya in Liberia. Fears of the disease and quarantine measures have stopped farmers from reaching their fields, and food output has dropped, raising fears that a famine could set in on top of the deadly illness.
Operation has been quite intense, and we intend to scale up as the need arises. Basically, what you can see here, if you take it into any of the other affected countries, you will see also similar operations going on, and we intend to be very proactive and react instead of reactive to the situation.
Meanwhile, in Kenya, Nairobi's Kenyatta National Hospital, the nation's largest, has created an isolation ward to deal with the Ebola outbreak. The 21-bed facility was constructed a year ago for tuberculosis patients, but has been emptied and readied for any suspected Ebola cases. The Ministry of Health says the facility has already handled 4 suspected Ebola cases in the past 2 weeks, all tested negative for the virus. And Nigeria is also taking precautions against Ebola. Joining us now live via Skype is Cynthia Areh of Channels TV, our broadcasting partner in Lagos. Welcome, Cynthia.
Hello. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
There have been reports that 4 people have died of Ebola in Nigeria. Can you give us a sense of the situation now?
Well, most recently, there was a doctor who was pronounced dead. She's one of the people who had primary contact with the index case, that's Patrick Sawyer, when he first got into Nigeria. So that created a bit of, a bittersweet case, in that earlier in the week we were told that 4 people had been released because they didn't actually have the Ebola virus. But then today we got to understand that she had passed on from the virus. So people are happy that, the number of cases has reduced significantly. But at the same time, they're also upset about the passing of the doctor. So basically, there's relative calm, but people are still on their toes.
So, but is there a sense that the authorities seem to be in control of the situation, or are people's reaction more of doubts or mistrust?
There's definitely a sense that the authorities are doing a very, very good job. It's such a good job that, the U.S. Consul General has also commended the Nigerian government for the way it's been handling the situation, because now what the government is doing is not necessarily, preparing for a situation of, medicine after death, but more of a case of taking precautionary measures by setting up centers, isolation centers, and looking out for people that might have, possible Ebola symptoms and addressing those issues immediately. So there is a sense of calm, and contentment with how the government is handling the situation. Also, a large number of resources are also being allocated to handle the situation. Today, Lagos is expecting about $300 million from the Federal Executive Council, and we're also expecting $1.9 billion later in the week to deal with it generally in the country.
So let's talk about the kidnapped girls from Chibok a few months ago, about 4 months ago. Is there a sense that this Ebola outbreak is kind of shifting the attention from them?
Definitely. It is taking over. It has taken over the media, but they're not necessarily forgotten. I believe that the government is still making the necessary steps, taking the necessary precautions to still locate those girls, but they're not forgotten. Definitely the Ebola virus has dominated the media for the past few weeks. But I do understand, and I think I can comfortably say that the government is doing more than it's talking. Just a few weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, the Northern Elders gave the president a deadline of October to locate the girls and forget about 2015. And his Doyo Kupe came out to say that the president did not need to be reminded about his responsibilities. And also went ahead to respond to it by saying that, the Boko Haram sect is no longer just a national situation, but something that needs international cooperation in order to handle. But he also made it very clear that he did not need to be given an ultimatum in order to carry out his responsibilities. So definitely, the Ebola virus epidemic, in quotes, has dominated the media, but it does not mean that the missing girls have been forgotten.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for joining us. And that was Cynthia Areh of Channels TV reporting live via Skype from Lagos, Nigeria. We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com.